again. Remember though, the early setup. Graves with the early wave control. Last time around, there was such a big early lead because Flandre got the ward into blue buff and Gromp to give himself that vision to push him off the first wave. That is going to be something that Gen.G looked to correct to give a little bit more threat to the Renekton and try and keep him from sustaining such early damage, because if you can get him through there, you know he's come up with so many clutch plays for the team on his comfort pick.
Yeah, and now with the Orianna and Ryze rounded out, definitely feels like Gen.G more indexed into that solid 5v5 team fighting. They have the ball delivery set up on numerous targets. They have the front line there. They have engage. And on the opposite side, I would say much more indexed into pick for EDG with the fact that they do have that semi-global in mid lane. They do have things like the curtain call to set up. And I'm really curious because this series has been completely defined by team fights so far.
Let's see who wins them. Zhao can get on the way in. The Lee Sin, of course, taken off the table twice now and forcing Clid down just a little bit. The Viego was not as impactful as he wanted it to be. And we're just going to wait for this climactic Game 5 to start. Will it be Ruler's third World Final? Gen.G's fourth? Or does EDG keep the road going? LPL? Hey, they won MSI. EDG? The hopes are on them to make it a run for Worlds, looking for their first World Final. And is it going to happen is the question.
Yeah, RNG died for this freak. EDG carrying the whole region's hopes on their shoulders. If the pivotal members can pop off, I feel like Viper's had a good series all series long, but if Scout especially can put up the same level of performance he did last game, EDG should be feeling good.
Yeah, individual stars have really answered the call throughout different moments here. Scout did it in the LPL finals. See if he can do it here again. The Ryze pick for him. Some options to play side lanes as well later, but we know it comes down to so much on these picks.
It's this game that decides who battles Damwon Kia on the 6th for a chance at the Summoners Cup. Gen.G, who so rarely were able to punch above their weight in playoffs. They had won regular seasons in the LCK, but they could not finish higher than they were seeded. They go internationally, and it was a quick exit to G2 at Worlds. It was a quick exit in the mid-season cup to top esports. And now, oh, it's EDG looking for a bit more here. Not gonna find the route. Viper didn't want to start with W to set it up, and so just a bit of damage.
Yeah, so now EDG gonna back off. And when I look at these drafts, the really big thing that jumps out to me is I feel like this game will be much more decided by mid-jungle support, right? When you have these engaged, roam-heavy champions, when both teams have set up in their mid-jungle 2v2, I think it's gonna be a lot of 3v3 skirmishes around the mid lane.
And can EDG take advantage of pushing BDD all the way down to the Orianna? The Ryze here feels like has a lot of agency early on into it. Try and create some plays. BDD has been quite good though, holding his own even in some less than opportune matchups.
Yeah, and for BDD, this is a champion he's very familiar with. Was his 4th most played when we do look back to LCK Summer, so nothing surprising here. And we talked about the ball delivery setup, and just as a callback to an earlier game, like you highlighted, Kobe, this is what Graves is able to do in this matchup. Get in front of the wave, zone him off with the range advantage that you have. You have the E to look to kite him out and make Rascal's life hell.
The big difference this time around is that jungler pathing down to bottom for EDG. So Jiejie, if he wanted to come complete like last time, the dive on the wave, it would have to be a slower. You have to a much bigger slow push there as far as the cannon wave coming through. So he's gonna have some safety knowing that Flandre just gonna fast shove this one, bounce it right back to himself.
Yep, Clid not able to jump walls on the Zhao, so just the simple ward in the brush gonna make it fine, even though it is a Red Raptor's Gromp at early level 3. Likely to not be too much pressure as similar path comes through for Jiejie. Up about half a camp actually in clear speed right now. BDD sidestepping. Shields the last little bit as Scout gets the slow in.
Yeah, and you know, really nice job coming out from him. BDD, of course, is maintaining pressure early on. Orianna very decent in this 1v1 matchup. You do have a range advantage onto Scout. The wave is going to push back in now, but I expect the first few minutes to be very standard coming out from both sides. Probably won't be first resets until bot lane where we see a lot of action.
Once a stun, not going to get any more than just a bit of damage, but does keep the CS pretty much equal, 16 apiece. Jiejie, I think he might have gotten seen by the mid wave, but certainly Clid, if he wants to fight, can do so, but with mid pressure, it's unlikely to happen.
Exactly. 5 ranged minions there pushing in favor of Scout right up to the turret there means that Clid's going to have to take the long way around, goes over, gets his wolves, and Jiejie wants to cross for the double.
Yeah, really interesting that EDG actually had the confidence to look for this play, knowing that they have Prio and bot lane in the mid-wave bouncing back. I wonder if Gen.G probably can't look for a follow-up. Probably will just have to give this one away.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the big difference in this game, again, referring to the champ select, is that this is the one free of enchanter supports bottom lane. So every window, every opening, every timing from bottom lane to be able to roam has so much more impact in this game number 5. That's why I expect this one to be the most explosive of the entire series, because if you do get to push for Viper and Meiko, you get to open up Meiko to go make plays with Jiejie, and already Jiejie is focusing around mid lane to have Scout and set him up to complement those as well.
For the trade yet again. Nice stun, gets the Q heal, and Rascal, I mean, really holding on to this lane a lot better than last time. Certainly not looking to get first blooded or anything. As Clid walks the reward on his way towards bottom lane, information known, puts in a trinket to make sure there's no Jarvan ganks.
Yeah, I mean, EDG have complete control vision in bot side, as we can see on the mini-map, so EDG maybe look for a potential gank up towards top side. Now that BDD has to TP back to lane, you don't have any TP to cover if they do want to set up a gank. Instead, Jiejie wants to look for a gank here in mid.
Yeah, and they saw Clid on the wards leading up, all that vision you mentioned through the river. This is why it's such an important objective.
Oh, BDD gonna be in range almost, only for a slow though. Able to sidestep the knock-up and walks away, but that doesn't mean he's gonna drop a couple of CS here, and can they train for a bit more? I mean, Scout could theoretically go for the big route. Yes, he does. EQ's gonna be back up, the flash follow! That was beautiful. The youngest player left the world sets up first blood for Scout.
Jiejie doing such a good job. Again, his performance at Worlds so much better than what we've seen in the LPL. Scout as well. The mid-jungle 2v2 being what's going to define this series.
Immediately rewarded for pushing BDD down to that Orianna. The focus, Jiejie on top side, on bottom side of mid lane. So many wards invested, and it pays off. Scout doesn't give up on the play either. He chases him through the river with the phase rush, and they get first blood in the elimination game.
Last time Scout had a 1-kill lead over BDD, he ended with a 25 stack Magi's. That was a 2-1 start. This one's 1-0. It may just be the same amount of pressure. Cooldown boots and a tier. That is infinite lane control for a Ryze.
When the team needed him most in LPL finals, Scout stepped up. When the team needs him most now too, he's got the first blood money. He's set up to do it. Again, we're going to see so many repeat visits of support and jungle around this mid lane. Keeping this clear allows you so much pressure, because if you have this vision coverage, then you threaten the picks in all of your rotations, and you keep getting more opportunities for that money.
Exactly, and even just being able to control river vision with the fact you have mid-jungle support Prio means you're just going to be able to hover into Fog of War. It's going to put a lot of pressure on both Rascal and Ruler to have to play more cautiously.
Gen.G taking their turn to play a bit more aggressively. No wards to put down in the right side jungle, so even though they own the river, they don't really get to control it for any longer. Meiko and Viper going to spot them, level 5 and 4 on the bottom lanes. Able to knock down a control ward. Yeah, they wait for the reload, money given over. EDG actually very good at making sure Viper always gets the ward gold. It's a nice thing.
Also want to shout out Rascal, because this time around, without the jungle attention, because they were able to track so much better this time, and they knew it was a red quadrant clear down to bottom side, he did recover pretty quickly from the level 1 trying to zone off wave, and on his Renekton, again, trying to keep the way clear here of all these wards so you get that extra threat of the brush.
And that's the thing, right? No matter what you think of Renekton as a champion, I think it's been very clear this series, and probably throughout the whole year, that Rascal is very comfortable on it, can go into any matchup and be able to at least make his way out even.
Gen.G, they have really embraced staying true to yourself and your most comfortable champions. Let's see about this red counter invade though.
Yeah.
Top side was given up, so they're answering with the bottom one. Scout helping out, clearing out those chickens as well, and it's all afforded because bottom lane has been pushing over and over again. Again, Viper and Meiko, it's not CS lead, but it is constant moves from bottom lane. It's those timings. Whenever you shove your wave in, guess what? That's 30 seconds. Every 30 seconds supported by one wave of pressure lets you make those trade-ups.
And when we're talking about Prio coming out from bot side, we hit on it last game, how impactful that is for when Herald does spawn. Herald coming up in 10 seconds, so if Viper and Meiko can get this wave in, start making their way up towards that top side, you'd assume EDG want to posture for that objective, because right now, Rascal's the one who will be able to get that push in top.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because Misfortune has the extra move speed with the strut, but Jhin only has to get like halfway there to open up with the ultimate with the extra range too. So definitely looking at the supports too. One of the biggest deciders in a lot of these fights, if you both, fully commit to it, both feel like you have a good chance of winning the fight, is which support got actually more experience and didn't roam as much early, because the level 6 timing matches up for supports right around the 8.5 minute mark. So being able to get that level 6 critically before swapping can actually make the difference. Let's see if you see the experience bar right now on Meiko. Already life left on the last minion wave, so you get the first move up there, but not necessarily access to your ult, and now he has it, so that is a huge support advantage.
I really like what EDG did here, right? They kind of baked that they were making their way up, which gives Gen.G the security to go for the recall and follow up themselves. Immediately return to the wave once Gen.G's bot lane does recall and get that experience advantage that you just hit on.
Yeah, so now the correct response for Gen.G, as soon as you see that Leona pass through mid and already being level 6, Life is actually trying to leech experience on mid lane. You just commit to keeping your misfortune bottom. Don't let anybody sneak around and get picked off. Just commit to your misfortune, getting your minion wave. Good job there. They play it calmly. Gen.G just push on the bottom side. They get their extra minion wave. Won't be a lot of damage on the tower because you see Jhin, Viper, they made the call early on, recognizing it was going to be that call because they were showing on the minion wave. So correct responses from both sides this time around.
The gold, it is more than just the first blood, though. Overall, a bit more farm on the EDG side, so passively just a little bit stronger in the lanes, as they sit on about a 1,000 gold lead, 600 of that being the assisted kill. And honestly, Viper back in lane in time, has not even lost the turret plate down there, so able to help secure his team's pressure in the top side of the map. They grab the Herald, and he's already back to collect the wave. They're even up a plate down there, even with Ruler sitting there and, playing 1v0 for a short time. So far, so good on the EDG camp. The only turret with a plate down is that bottom lane. It may be where they summon as a result, but we know so many teams care about the mid pressure instead.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see if EDG want to start more tunneling their sights towards that bottom side of the map. I think you have a very easy set play coming out that if Gen.G do push up, right, open up the curtain call from Viper, follow up with a flag and drag from behind turret with Jiejie and try and look for some kind of pick. If not, you always can just try and outright start up a river fight at Dragon for the fact that you do have, I'd say, a bit better early game skirmishing in your composition.
I love it, Lyric. Please give me option number 1. That's what I want to see, because you also have the Ryze Ultimate Realm Warp to add to that play, and we've seen so much reward for that proactive nature.
Well, everything's up right now. The flashes have come back from the mid play. Everyone's got the ability to just go out of nowhere. 11 minutes in, the Dragon has spawned a while ago, but no one's yet to play for it. And they knock down this, and
we've seen
Flandre spots a brush, but Rascal's inside of it. Half HP from the empowered Q.
Such a big discrepancy now in the power when you teleport in. If Rascal can get these chunks, the Renekton so threatening on one of those flanks with that point and click stun, but Life,
possible target, jumps over the wall, able to stay safe. Meiko not going to be able to get the follow through, but it does mean the bottom jungle now belongs to EDG. They might convert that into an objective.
It's just crazy how much more comfortable EDG looks when they have Meiko on this tank engaged support. How well they've done at controlling vision on the bottom side of the map. You can see Scout numerous times just hovering down as well to make sure they can go for these plays. On our mini-map right now, it does look like Jiejie hovering towards mid. They are going to set up that bot lane play that we were hitting on.
And it's a power spike difference. Flandre kept his TP to stay around the top lane, to teleport down, to make the play. Rascal going to try to go for his own completion. As he's gotten a turret plate down there, may have Mythic waiting in base. Bot lane turret, you take the first 2 by hand, you summon, and if you can stay around, that can be the entire turret. Do they have the damage they need as Viper shoots in yet again? It won't kill with just the charge. Renekton finally now going to take the recall. Turret down pretty low. Play on the top side. They've got the root, they've got the knockup, and they're going to find the second kill. Scouts 2-0. Last time that happened, they won the game. Life wants in, but do you really want a 5v4? Jhin opens up, looks for the shots. So far, so good on the Life, removing some from the Gen.G health bars.
And it all comes from the vision that EDG got to find this pick right. That ward right there behind Dragon is what allowed them to spot out Clid to make the turn, to continue this play, and to take this Dragon.
They get the teleport out early as well. Answer, Dragon picked up by EDG. Successful use of their advantage here. That Ryze from mid lane, getting the early push and roaming down, setting up the play onto bottom side, and being able to convert here is such a big sign for the LPL, Lyric. It really feels like, off of the last game as well, they are now thriving.
Ah, really nice to see EDG, stepping up for the region that I do cast, because LPL not at the best tournament here so far. Though this game definitely far from over. EDG's gold lead still very slim in my opinion. So Gen.G, you have beat it easier win condition. You have this big team fight wombo combo with Orianna ultimate, bullet time coming out from Ruler. If Life, Clid, Rascal can find the setup.
Scout throwing his Q off to the side too, just holding the cannon minion here. He's threatening. You better be worried about your other side as Meiko slips in with a control ward.
Flash going for the root. Does he get in range? No, not all the way. It's going to be a trade of summoners. The Life blocks the deadly flourish, and not going to be much more. BDD still chunked down to half HP.
Nice sidestepping coming out from BDD to make sure none of that did happen. Did have to burn his flash, but still feels like EDG had the tools to follow up on that had he just mispositioned incorrectly, and any of the CC did follow up. Now both teams gonna back off, and for EDG it looks like they're just continuously pivoting into bot side. With only one plate up left on that turret, feels like that's the obvious play to make for EDG.
Yeah, and they traded up so heavily in the last play with the extra teleport now on Ryze. There it is!
Here comes the play, looking for the 3v2 down there. Jarvan gonna be here well before Zhao as well. Meiko's gonna walk up, good sidestep as Life dodges away, but they may still go for this dive. The turret's not gonna live very long, and Scout's here to find the root, to find some damage, follow up by the Jhin as well, still just throwing in damage. A dunk onto Misfortune, sidestepping most of it, and it's gonna be flashes to get away from the solar flare, but that's still Viper finding the first kill. Realm Warp shows up for a bit more, a dodge away from the shockwave, 1 for 1 so far. Clid would love to find the next bit of the kill. Gets a knockup, Viper though kiting back pretty well, and gets the next one, and now opening up for a little bit more. He's assassinating with these shots. The fourth one puts him at 1 HP. And Jiejie now wants it on a BDD. Flashless on the Orianna. A bit more at the Gorge Ring. The auto attacks come across, and EDG are 5-1.
The proactivity coming out from EDG to set up these plays is so nice to see in this game 5. Gen.G think they can turn it around, but Meiko shows up, stuns Clid, EDG finish off the play.
They call for it. Scout with the teleport advantage behind the bottom lane. And Gen.G actually come with the collapse here. They actually have Jhin heading down river immediately to try and counter. On that control ward, they know the Jarvan is coming, and they probably moused over to see the teleport through fog. That's why they're running all the way back here. Scout opens it up, root into Everfrost as Viper lands the W on Jhin 2, and then they try and cut out the ultimate. Big space gain there from Ruler and Life, and actually buying so much time for Clid to get down. Big play from Viper, does get the kill and execute on the burst damage, but look at the live picture-in-picture as well. They're right back out to a Rift Herald reward on top of it.
Oh, smiteable. Nope, of course. Clid's there. Of course it is. It's going to happen. Rascal does not quite get to walk all the way up. Okay,
Whoa.
Stunned, rooted. He wanted it. He's not going to get it. Rascal walks his face in. A double stun in from Meiko. And that means Gen.G may have killed the Herald, but can they win this fight? Meiko is low. Forced to walk away. 1-0 EDG.
Yeah, Rascal goes in, tries to pick up the Herald, instantly gets bursted down. Not quite sure what else
He's trying very hard. He's sniffing around a little bit closer.
A little bit closer. BDD does find a nice shockwave, but sadly they just don't have the damage to follow up without the Renekton still alive, and no bullet time able to come up for Ruler, who really wasn't close enough to participate in the play.
That was so odd to watch.
Kobe, that's been the name of this series, though.
Yeah.
With the crowd control right on top of it too. Regardless, EDG are, the motto is, I believe the phrase, we'll take those!
We take those.
Hey, and this is actually very reminiscent to the last series they played, right? Where in Game 5 against RNG was the best game they showed of that series. It feels like so far this is the best game that EDG have shown today.
Hey, the 2-2 power spike, that's what they're going for, all right? That's where the comfort zone really lives, and as the root comes in, it's big damage. Scout puts Rascal to half. Of course, he's armor stacked. He's against Graves Jarvan. It makes sense, but that means Scout gets to really put in a lot of hurt.
I don't know, speaking of Rascal, he's actually finally gotten to play a game. No attention focus up towards topside. He did really well on his own in that 1v1, and he'd really like to try and transition some of that mid-game power into some of these skirmishes, but it feels like EDG just went too much elsewhere on the map. For Gen.G, you might just have to opt into the cross-map trade game for now. Try and stay steady in gold. You are about 4K gold behind, but for EDG, they're the team with all the options.
Yeah. Do not hesitate. I think that is the biggest difference maker in so many of these setups. Do not hesitate on the play. EDG being rewarded for starting them up. Dragon number 2 will easily be picked up for them. And you mentioned Scouts. going to be so nice for him now, transitioning to the mid game. That Ryze off of the early kills, now level 11. Everfrost is completed. Get to try and set up the map in their favor because Gen.G have the very straightforward we were looking for. Shockwave combination with the Rakan engage and Misfortune over the top. EDG going to try and set up those waves. You see they still have Ryze on bottom side, and the respect given over from Flandre, even though they are actually resetting there, doesn't extend up by the tower and doesn't offer up the dive opportunity.
Yeah, Gen.G doing a nice job of taking advantage of the reset timing having to come up from EDG, but I like that you hit on that Gen.G pretty much have this one goal they want to go for, because for EDG, even if they are a pick comp, it feels like they have a lot of different options to play from. You're going to have push with your mid 3, you can hover towards either side lane, you can have Scout push out a side lane back and look for like a Realm Warp play with Flandre. There's just so many different avenues that EDG can attack the map with the leads that they've gotten.
And now we see what they do with this nearly 4,000 gold lead. The second dragon was uncontested, no chance at a smite, just grabbed. As they are just 9 minutes away from a very early Cloud Soul if they can keep that bottom river every time it comes up. Meiko on the way forward. Jiejie coming around as well. Aggressive wards are here, and sadly that one control was outside the brush, so not going to get rid of EDG's vision.
What you need to do, yes, when you have this advantage for EDG, is make every transition more dangerous for Gen.G. Because they're the team, as we say, are looking for the, maybe a brush play, but really an all-in commitment numbers advantage play, and EDG are the ones trying to play the map. You make it more dangerous by getting those deeper wards through the jungle and threatening those possibilities. Like you said, Lyric, the options are plentiful, but you have to hold the line. You cannot give the opening.
Yeah, and exactly. And when the options are more plentiful for EDG, I feel like for Gen.G side, since you can't walk into the jungle because you are being restricted by EDG, at some point you're probably going to have to give up one of your side lanes and just all-out commit to maybe bringing a Rascal mid and committing numbers advantage there, with the potential that maybe you lose out more if you can't find something. But when you're this far behind, you need to take gambles and risks like that.
Exactly. Need to increase your threshold for accepting risk. Might be a more risky play, but sometimes you have to take them.
And generally speaking, if the play is better than your odds at winning from the game state, it's a decent heuristic to use. The bot lane wave pushed in. Scout happily side laning, most farm in the game. Okay, passed now by Flandre, but playing heavily for all the gold income. Perhaps going to take a very safe wave down by his bot lane tier 2, but it still generally means, okay, EDG back on the map, take the reset, 2 minutes till the dragon. Ready to spend that gold and look for the next move across the map.
And when we've highlighted AD and mid so much for the side of EDG, you look at where the gold advantages lie. Both 1,000 gold advantages there, actually 2,000 gold advantage for Viper is a pretty solid, I think it was 1.5 items up last time. No, it wouldn't, 2,000 1.5 items. 1 item up for Viper. As yeah, EDG now, I think just continue this play, push out mid, walk into topside jungle, restrict the vision from Gen.G. But our eyes are really just on Gen.G. How Gen.G are going to be the team to counteract, because EDG also, this time around, are the team stacking the dragons. So Gen.G are going to start to feel that clock whittle down, and they will be forced into making a contest.
Now, when will they be pushed to their breaking point? The risk tolerance, building up and up and up until you finally have to take it. EDG are doing a good job. Clearing out everything, making it more safe for them to increase this lead, taking away the blue buff, even though question mark being does go down. Would have liked that one, but it's fine.
Oh, well, fighting over buffs, fighting over last hits, it's fine. EDG still in a very good spot so far in this game. Cannot quite push in for mid lane tier 2. Obviously, no second Herald. That one was slain by Gen.G, so mid lane gonna be tough to crack. Ruler always able to save the ulti in case he needs to wave clear it. But now we count down 1 minute. Last call. Get your recalls off. All right. Zeal and upgraded boots in for Viper. He's going to be powerful. Definitely a full half net of a boots upgrade above Ruler. Take the top lane as well.
Take a moment, Gen.G. Take your time. This is a big one. 40 seconds left. They push out mid lane to get mid priority, moving into the river to take down that vision coverage.
I think the sad thing for Gen.G, since they don't have any deep wards, can't really bring Rascal in on the flank, is committing up towards the top side right now. Is Gen.G need to be careful?
Spotted by the trap, not going for the snipe is Viper, but hold on. Decent damage, half HP Guardian popped. All right, gonna be okay. This leaves the Keystone down for a short time, and it's time to go for the bottom river. 2-item spike is in for Scout. That's 2 legendaries up for EDG, top lane and mid lane. Better on completions. And now EDG, do they get their third dragon? Clid still wants to front line. Make it rain a decent slow out from Ruler, but when's the next actual fight? EDG sidestepping the deadly flourish. W comes in, Clid finds a slow. Does he want the fight? Not just yet. He's got a control ward. River going to be pushed toward now as the dragon has spawned and has been attacked, but EDG are giving away the control as Ryze is clearing mid, and Life is in for the flank. Gen.G go in, they find the knockup. They look for the kill, but Viper stays alive. Will they kill Meiko? Yes, a 1-for-0. The shots come across. Ruler a bit isolated, but will not be hit by the skill shots. Rascal a bit low, and Life has been traded back. The dunk comes in. It's 3 unanswered. A stopwatch for Scout, and he stays alive. It's the ace. It's Gen.G falling. It's the last hope of the LPL, crushing the second to last team of the LCK.
We saw Scout, we saw Jiejie playing that so well, taking down numerous members, and now they're going to be able to turn this into a Baron.
The Baron, huge rewards here for EDG. What a series they have worked through here. It is Soul Point, it is Baron on the map, full control, being able to push in. It was an arduous journey for them to get to this point, but the LPL prevails.
Yeah, EDG, such a long journey, so many years, again, starting out in the LPL in 2014, never able to make it to a World Final, never able to make it to a semi before this year's Worlds, finally on the way to doing it with the lead that they've been able to accrue.
And they came out with such a bang, right? It was 3 back-to-back LPL titles when they came in. They then won the inaugural MSI, and it's like, wow, back in 2015, like, are we in the LPL era? But that wasn't the case. But now this fight, the climactic one, this is what set them ahead.
Exactly. Then you see Viper, he was able to survive the initial engage. He flashed out, bought his space to be able to open up the re-engage. Everybody turning it back. Scout with the Zhonyas as well. Barely there on the outside, not dying. He is also able to realm warp them over to Baron. So critically close.
Yeah, Viper especially being able to dodge out all that damage and return so much burst. EDG not wanting to get too far ahead of themselves with this.
I thought it was a really good look from Gen.G because they found the flank around the back onto Viper, the super fed Jhin.
Ooh!
Yeah.
Flandre damage.
I saw people talking smack about LPL top laners this one around. Flandre, a difference maker in that team fight for sure.
Well, everyone on Gen.G diving towards Viper. There's another AD carry on the team.
I mean, Flandre does, again, hold 30% of EDG's damage share so far at Worlds. He has been the guy putting up those numbers. And with that, EDG is just going to be able to keep funneling forward. They have mid-wave. They have Flandre up in top side, so they can start pivoting towards that lane once the wave does crash. And just really nice rotations, playing out 2 lanes from Edward Gaming.
How much more can they get? Still 1 minute 15 left on the Baron buff so far. The Rebel Baron power play is 2,000. That's 1 turret looking for a second, but not quite going to happen. Clid spotted on the flank, and that means a bit of safety for now. Scout has roam warp, but not TP, making it a little bit difficult to get to his team. That's okay, though. The split pushing. Middle lane tier 2 under fire. Slowed by MF. Clid maybe could have gone for that play, but it would have been a risk and doesn't go for it.
Oh, man, that risk tolerance has got to be through the roof right now for Gen.G. After the last fight that they lost, they are so far in the hole, they've got to make it.
Roam up just in case. Rascal's on the TP. No, it's going to be Jarvan going in. Puts the dunk in, flashes the way. Bullet time going to force the disengage. Ultimately, everyone lives. Rascal tried for the play, and it's a disengage.
I'm a little bit surprised that Jiejie did commit so hard there to try and give it away. I feel like you could have played that a bit slower, but still, they are able to get away. So for EDG, they're totally fine.
Yep, because they get him out, they can just run right over back to top lane with the Baron, then we'll get inside the base. That will be inhibitor.
And with the Baron buff on, you know defending a fight is always going to be hard. So it's going to be 1 turret traded for 2. Top lane tier 2 is going to be a formality. Inhibitor turret goes down. Mid outer at least cracked. It's 2 to 5 in turrets. It's 0 to 3 in Drakes. Edward Gaming and the Baron buff with a 3,000 gold lead with a dead inhibitor and the ability to fight for Dragon's Soul in 1 minute and 20 seconds.
And the pivotal thing is which inhibitor that is. Top lane inhibitor when you are going to be playing for Dragon's Soul on the opposite side of the map. Rascal doesn't have TP anytime soon. BDD might have his up in time to try and answer some of those waves, but either way, EDG will be able to continue to secure vision, be on objective first, and just make Gen.G's life so hard.
Exactly. Gen.G have run out of time because the super minions will be putting all that pressure directly on the top Nexus turret, and EDG are rolling in it.
And again, I don't know why EDG need their backs against the wall to perform so well. Every time Game 5s, EDG just step up and show their best.
It has to feel so good for Meiko, for Viper. So many years on this team. Meiko, since 2015, a franchise player. Now with his eyes set on the finals appearance, and all that's left is finishing up this map, a 10,000 gold lead, a soul point coming up, vision coverage through the jungle leading up to it, and the potential for the pick.
15 seconds, the final TP comes in. 6 times they have won the LPL, 6 times they have traveled to Worlds, and the first time they made MSI, they won it. The first time they've headed to the World Semifinal, it appears they will win it, and in so doing, be the first time they head to a World Final. Would love to keep that streak going of winning when you make it happen. Clid goes in for the play. Ulti still available on the back line. We have Jiejie going in. Stun's gonna hit onto life. They still find the back line. Ruler trying to stay alive, cutting away, and Clid is down. 1-0 in a gold lead. A 5v4 looks good. Scout would love to push down Rascal. It was his flank that killed them in game 3, and it's Scout that gets his revenge. It's Flandre knocking him down as well. Dragon Soul unneeded. And maybe they go for it anyway. No wave in the mid lane.
Talking about comfort picks, Flandre has stayed true to Graves more than any other player at this tournament, and he's rewarded.
Yeah, now EDG, 20, 30-second death timers at least can get themselves another inhibitor. Flandre gonna pick themselves up the soul, and now it just feels like a matter of time for EDG to be able to take this game.
No, Ruler, he's won a Worlds, he's lost in the finals. He's won a quarters, he's lost to quarters. He's won a groups, he's lost to groups. He's won a semifinal, he has not yet lost a semifinal. EDG about to add that to his list of accomplishments. The top 4 at Worlds is still an incredible performance and a great road for Gen.G, but it feels like it's nearing its end.
And we see here EDG looking for this pick. It's actually Gen.G the ones that started off. They're feeling the pressure that they're so far behind. Clid goes in, Scout on the opposite side, zoning off Rascal. Really nice ultimate by Jiejie and Meiko followed with a flash to get BDD low. And Flandre just there outputting so much damage. Scout gonna walk forward, knowing he can close the distance to land the rope. Flandre flashes forward, and EDG pick up their second kill of that fight, and smiles all around.
Edward Gaming, this was a tough battle as Clid is knocked up. They walk into the circle. Gordrigger not going to change the results here. And 11,000 gold. This battle was back and forth. At times it was ugly. Clid had outsmited Jiejie the entire time in this series. But when the ganks came through, when the early game was better, Jiejie got his team so many first bloods and snowballed those lanes into victories. In game 1, it was bot lane. In game 4 and 5, it was mid lane, and his teammates did the work when he helped in. And now, going for what could be the last push. Still 2 minutes 45 on the Baron buff.
And we're going to be keeping our eyes on Jiejie. No Cataclysm. Meiko, though, does have his ultimate, and they do want to look to start and engage. They have 2 waves of minions, one with super minions. They can look to keep sieging this down with things like the Jhin and try and find an opportunity to go for the engage.
Gonna be the Jhin to start it up. Sidestepping every single shot, but it is 1 turret down, ready to keep going. Still a 10,000 gold lead in the inventories themselves, let alone the wallets. Clid gonna sidestep a bit here. Turret still under fire. Can't go for bot lane just yet, still waiting for the wave, but the Baron buffed cannons are going to keep flooding in. The supers come in now as well to knock down even more. This turret's going to fall. Gen.G, when will you fight for your life? An open Nexus is the time as Clid is in the back line, taking the shockwave to help him to try to knock down Jiejie, but it's not going to happen just yet. Stopwatch burned. 1-0 so far. Take the second. Here comes the Realm Warp. Clid left alone. He will fall, and Ruler sees his kingdom fall to ashes. He's got no turrets left. He's got no life left, and he's got no road left to the World Championship. Viper puts in a couple of shots. BDD is going to die, and the Nexus falls, and EDG, the last of the LPL, are headed to their first World Final.
Welcome to finals, EDG. What a performance here. 5 games for both of these semifinals. And Damwon, the final boss, will await them there. Quite an intimidating one. For now, revel in the success that you have had here, EDG. First time in semifinals, first time victory.
Also going to be the first time in World's history that we have an LPL first seed facing an LCK first seed in the finals. 2 regions that people have viewed as the top tier of League of Legends for so long, getting to duke it out to see who will lift the trophy. EDG now going through 10 games in playoffs to make it to finals. We're going to have to see how much they did learn from this. So many individual standout performances across this series. We're going to see that in full force if they want to be able to take the Summoners Cup.
I'm really hoping for more engaged supports for Meiko. Finally, threw off the enchanters. Love it when they have more proactive looks. Him setting up plays, you know, forcing on bottom side. Flandre saying, just pick me Graves, man.
I also want to highlight Jiejie because Jiejie has long been viewed as the weakness of this roster, particularly in one series in summer playoffs. He got subbed out because of how bad he played. Comes into Worlds, and honestly, he's probably been the most consistent high-level performer for EDG. Joined the squad back in 2019 summer, the youngest player on the squad at only 20 years old. And again, he's having a fantastic Worlds.
And he's going to fight against Canyon in 6 days. His early games were great. He got at least 4 First Bloods. It might have been 5, but I don't know, 3 of those turned into wins when it happened. Again, the bot lane, the mid lane, that's what ended up being the focus. And, you know, as EDG puts the games in, 10 so far in the knockout stage, they learn and they learn, they figure out, okay, what's the style that's going to work? They get to watch the 5 games we just saw of Dom1 Kia. Look at what T1 did to isolate them and find a couple of wins there. And it's just, okay, you've got 5 days. You've got the work week to get yourself ready